Prince of Wales says the past year has been the hardest of his life. Speaking to the media in South Africa, Prince William described both his wife and father being diagnosed with cancer as dreadful.
Tension shook Kensington Palace when Princess Charlotte revealed a family secret that has now changed everything. Amid her mother's health struggles, Charlotte noticed a disturbing shift in her father's behavior. Prince William had suddenly become distant and cold. He also started keeping his beard, which led to a fallout with Charlotte. But no one expected things would get so bad that Prince William would eventually be kicked out of the palace. What secret did she reveal? Join us as we get right into the recent shocking drama behind Kensington Palace's walls. Trouble in Kensington Palace. According to sources close to the royal family, Princess Charlotte has always been a happy and energetic child. She fills the air with her charisma and laughter. But unfortunately, all of that changed recently, thanks to Prince William's misadventures. Palace sources first observed Charlotte's slow and progressive withdrawal from social gatherings. Her presence, which used to lighten the mood, even during tense moments, had suddenly changed. And this confused everyone. No one knew it was all her father's fault. Although Princess Charlotte was just 8 years old, she sensed something was wrong with her father. It all began with her mother, Kate, struggling with a persistent health issue that left her more tired and withdrawn than usual.
In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful, however, tests after the operation found cancer had been present.
Charlotte noticed everything, from her mother's weak smile to the quiet conversations and the peaceful tension among the staff. When Kate was eventually diagnosed with cancer earlier this year, it weighed Williams down heavily, and in no time, it started affecting the children, until now that Prince William might never be seen in the palace premises again. Before the cancer diagnosis, everyone knew William was the bedrock of the family. He also made a lot of time for Princess Charlotte and her siblings. But with Kate and King Charles diagnosed with cancer at the same time while Harry was away with his wife in the United States, the burden became much for Prince Williams to deal with. He suddenly became distant and was always occupied, spending long hours visiting Kate and his father at the hospital or attending state functions. But just as Charlotte thought she had seen the worst of her father, something shocking happened. Keep watching to find out. A cold determination replaced the warmth that had once been his trademark, and his face, which had always been clean-shaven, now sported a rugged beard. This unsettled all of his children. They knew Uncle Harry kept his beard, and they had never been comfortable with it, but to now have their dad do the same while their mom was away on cancer treatment made the children very uneasy. William barely noticed the changes in Princess Charlotte. He had enough to worry about. His wife was on cancer treatment, his dad was on cancer treatment, his brother was far from home, and a war was raging in Eastern Europe. All palace functions and care for his father, wife, and the children fell on him. The changes deeply disturbed Charlotte, who couldn't understand why her father looked so different. He reminded her too much of her Uncle Harry, the man she rarely saw but always heard whispers about, and they were whispers that spoke of conflicts, troubles, and family rifts. We are about to make an exciting revelation. You cannot afford to miss this part. One afternoon, Charlotte's curiosity got the better of her. When William returned from another long day, she gathered her courage to ask why he had started growing a beard, noting that he now resembled Uncle Harry. The palace became colder, with the king and Kate away, and a civil war with his daughter was the last thing on Prince William's mind. What happened next would surprise you. Prince William decided to shave off his beard as Charlotte requested. He revealed during an interview in South Africa that he shaved off for 2 reasons. One, he had already had a tough year due to the health crisis rocking the royal family. Charlotte had also been traumatized from the prolonged absence of her mother this year, and he doesn't want any extra burden on her mind. William realized that family is bigger than appearance. It was a profound gesture of love for his daughter. During the same interview after his stay in Cape Town, South Africa, William recalled how her reaction had caught him off guard. Rather than the curiosity or playful amusement he might have expected, Charlotte's emotional response struck a chord, leaving William both surprised and concerned. He could tell that his daughter was upset, but the intensity of her reaction made him realize how deeply she felt about this change. This wasn't the only way Williams proved his exceptional love for Charlotte to the world. What he did earlier will surprise you. The Cape Town Promise. Prince Williams was determined to keep Charlotte happy after the beard episode. In addition to shaving off his beard, he made a solemn promise to her during the visit to South Africa. It started a few days before the journey. As William prepared their stuff for the trip, Charlotte gifted him a handmade, colorful bracelet.
I've been fortunate enough over the years to get to know Africa, and what an amazing continent it is. And I think the breadth of diversity, not only in people, but culture, but also landscape, I think really helps.
She calls the bracelet the Papa bracelet, as a token of her love and affection for her dad. William revealed that the bracelet had its roots in a Taylor Swift concert they attended together. The concert was an interesting event for Charlotte, and afterwards, she was inspired to create a bracelet for her father as a memento of the day. As William moved through his duties in Cape Town, the bracelet became a talking point, drawing the attention of the media and press to his journey's personal and emotional side. For William, the bracelet became a tangible reminder of that joyful experience and the promise he made to his daughter, which was to wear it throughout his time in Cape Town and to ensure it stayed safe. This small promise shows William values the little moments with his children, despite his international duties and engagements. William's choice to keep the bracelet visible during his official appearances in Cape Town was a touching decision. It was a conscious act of love, showing that his connection to his daughter remained at the forefront of his mind, no matter how busy his schedule or how important the event was. It was likely a point of pride for Charlotte to see her father's wrist adorned with her creation as he took on engagements and met with dignitaries. Her small gift had traveled halfway across the world, following William to a place where he represented not only the royal family, but also his role as a father. That is not all. The bracelet forms part of the main theme of William's life, combining his duties as a future king with his responsibilities as a parent. In his candid explanation of the bracelet's origins,
I decided that she wanted to create a bracelet for, and she gave it to me when I came away. So I promised I'd wear it and try not to lose it while I was out here.
William revealed the softer, more personal side of royal life. It wasn't about duty or protocol, but honoring a promise to his daughter. The bracelet became a metaphor for how William balances his role's expectations with the everyday moments that matter most to his family. While Williams was able to manage the issues with Charlotte, unfortunately, the same cannot be said about all royal family members. The first person that comes to mind when you think about beards and Williams's rocky relationship with the royal family is Prince Harry. We are about to reveal Prince Harry's connection to Prince William's troubles at Kensington Palace, including the beard controversy, and it will shock you. Harry and William's royal rumble. Harry is the major reason Prince William may eventually get kicked out of the royal palace. Their issues started a few years ago when William objected to Harry's decision to move abroad with his wife, Meghan Markle. In the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, Harry mentioned a tense encounter in 2020 that further damaged his relationship with William.
And he had a few issues which were based not on reality.
It happened during a meeting with senior royals, including their father. The royal household presented Harry with the option of total commitment to the royal family or complete withdrawal. Harry chose a middle ground, opting to remain partially involved, but neither William nor their father, King Charles, approved this decision, leading to a heated confrontation. Harry described the experience as frightening. Unfortunately, the family conversation quickly escalated into yet another argument. According to media reports, tensions between William and Harry intensified until their father intervened, raising his hands and saying, "Enough." Standing between his sons and looking up at their flushed faces, King Charles pleaded with them never to make his final years miserable. In their Netflix docuseries, Prince Harry mentioned that his family had difficulty understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. Although they tried to address the situation at Philip's funeral, Their efforts were unsuccessful. The most pressing issue within the royal family now seems to be responsibility. Stay tuned as we reveal more about this unfolding situation. Prince Harry feels that his brother and father are solely responsible for not understanding his reasons for leaving the royal family. He also doubts he will ever receive a sincere apology or see any accountability. Harry added that he and Meghan have moved forward and are concentrating on their future. Are you still wondering how all this could lead to William's expulsion from the royal palace? The truth is that for William, the ongoing dispute could affect his position as the future king. Remember that the British monarchy relies heavily on public perception, and a visible fracture within the family might raise concerns about William's ability to maintain stability as the head of the institution. His role as a unifying figure could be questioned if he is seen as unable to reconcile with his brother. The fact that this family conflict became public and is now reported in media reports and documentaries has started to offset the British public. This followed an initial altercation between them during the burial rites of Queen Elizabeth. According to media reports, King Charles allowed Williams to wear full military regalia, while he denied Harry the same opportunity. William was able to convince their father that Harry was no longer an active member of the royal family and did not deserve the honor of wearing the ceremonial uniform for the burial. Oh, this is where things get more interesting. Little did Prince William know that his children, especially Charlotte, had been following the altercation between him and Harry. Remember the beard issue we mentioned earlier? Reports suggest that Charlotte insisted her dad shave the beard because it made him look like Uncle Harry. This means the fracture in the palace may now be gradually affecting the perception of the children. All these significantly affect Prince William's chances in the palace. If he fails to manage the situation well, he might end up losing his right to the throne. This already happened during the reign of King Charles I. The king had imposed some religious and financial policies that the public found unacceptable. It ended in a brutal civil war and the eventual execution of the king. British society follows developments within the palace with keen's eye. They want to know who the royal heir is and whether they truly deserve to lead the people. Royal historians have sounded warnings that Williams has to get his acts together to find a lasting solution to the raging conflicts in the palace. If you think that is the end of Charlotte's battle with her father, then you are in for a shock. Royal insiders revealed that Prince Williams had started keeping the beard again. When asked about his daughter's concerns, he joked that the second time was a charm. Harry further alleges that William felt tremendous guilt for not speaking up about their father's affair with Camilla, leading to feelings of confusion and torment for William. Harry also accuses Camilla of playing a role in his mother's death, believing she was pivotal in the disintegration of his parents' marriage. He likened his first meeting with Camilla to getting an injection, noting that she seemed bored because Harry, not being the heir, posed no threat to her ambitions. Despite these feelings, Harry acknowledges that his father found happiness after marrying Camilla, and he wanted both his father and Camilla to be happy, even wondering if she was less dangerous when happy. He also mentions that Camilla turned his bedroom at Clarence's house into her dressing room as soon as he left. Harry discusses his father's difficult experience at Gordonstown, where Charles was bullied and almost did not survive, and mentions his father's attachment to a teddy bear, a symbol of the loneliness of Charles's childhood. In the book, Harry reveals that his role as William's best man during the 2011 wedding was not entirely accurate, as James Mead and Thomas Van Straubenzee gave the wedding reception speech. Harry felt this was the right decision, as he feared he might say something inappropriate. He also humorously recounts that he had a frostbitten todger at the wedding, a result of his trip to the North Pole, and was advised to apply Elizabeth Arden cream, which reminded him of his mother. Harry also alleges that William was tipsy on rum just hours before his wedding. He recalls that after breaking up with Chelsea Davy, he briefly dated Caroline Flack, but press intrusion quickly tainted their relationship. Additionally, he denies rumors of a relationship with Cameron Diaz, highlighting that while Britons are among the most literate people, they are also highly credulous when it comes to believing tabloid stories. Harry shares some personal and candid moments leading up to his relationship with Meghan Markle. On the day of their first date, He recalls being out at sea for a racing competition on a boat with no toilet, which led to him wetting his pants. He also admits to regretting searching for Meghan's sex scenes on Suits.
In his new memoir, Spare, the Duke of Essex admits that he once looked up Markle's sex scenes from the USA show Suits, and that he now regrets doing it, writing that he needs, quote, electric shock therapy to get the scenes out of his head.
Harry confesses that during a confrontation with Meghan, he became disproportionately, sloppily angry, which prompted Meghan to tell him she wouldn't tolerate such behavior and suggested he needed therapy. Harry mentions that his brother William urged him to take a closer look at his relationship with Meghan, believing it was moving too fast. However, Harry felt that their mother had played a role in helping him find Meghan. He also writes about Meghan being asked by Queen Elizabeth II to select a tiara from her private collection for the wedding. However, the Queen's dresser, Angela Kelly, initially refused to lend them the tiara, citing the need for an ordnance and police escort to take it out of the palace. After several attempts to contact Kelly, she eventually handed over the tiara, but with what Harry perceived as a clear warning in her eyes. There was also a disagreement between Meghan and Catherine over flower girl dresses, with Catherine expressing concern that her daughter Charlotte's dress needed to be completely remade just 4 days before the wedding. Harry recalls that Catherine texted Meghan, saying Charlotte cried when she tried on the dress because it was too big, long, and baggy.
Meghan's sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, was upset at a pre-wedding fitting for her daughter, Princess Charlotte.
Meghan, who took a day to respond, reminded Catherine that she was dealing with her ill father, who wasn't going to attend the wedding. Although Catherine agreed to take Charlotte to Meghan's tailor, Harry says he found Meghan sobbing on the floor when he got home. However, he adds that Catherine meant no harm and visited the next day with flowers and a card to make amends. Harry also touches on a conversation about the wedding rehearsal, where Meghan allegedly told Catherine, who had recently given birth, that she might be suffering from baby brain because of her hormones, as Catherine had forgotten a detail about the rehearsal timing. Harry recounts an apology from Meghan during a reconciliatory tea at Kensington Palace in June 2018. He also blames his father and stepmother's household for leaking the story about Meghan and Catherine's argument to the press. Harry shares 2 signs he saw before learning he was going to be a father. First, Meghan sang to a group of seals, which he claimed sang back. Second, Meghan took 2 at-home pregnancy tests and placed them on his bedside table. Harry reflected, "Let's see what Mummy can do with this situation." When they confirmed the pregnancy, he thanked Selkies and Mummy. The couple announced their pregnancy to the family on the day of Princess Eugenie's wedding in October 2018. Harry describes using a canister of laughing gas to stay calm during Meghan's birth. He also recounts Meghan's miscarriage in 2020.
So, of course, we are all now talking about the fact that she has revealed that she had a miscarriage in July.
They left the hospital with their unborn child in a tiny package, and Harry buried the child in a secret place under a banyan tree. The memoir details a confrontation between Harry and William at Nottingham Cottage in 2019. William, who visited to discuss their strained relationship, reportedly criticized Meghan as difficult, rude, and abrasive. Harry dismissed these comments as repeating press narratives about Meghan. During their argument, William allegedly grabbed Harry by the collar, ripping his necklace and knocking him to the floor, landing on a dog bowl that broke and cut him. Harry chose not to retaliate, and William later looked regretful and apologized. Harry called his therapist, and Meghan was deeply saddened by the incident. In his book, Harry reveals that his father, Charles, questioned whether Meghan wanted to continue her acting career since they did not have much money. Charles supported the couple until their departure from the UK, but feared Meghan's popularity might overshadow him. Harry also claims that Charles and Camilla were uncomfortable with William and Catherine receiving too much publicity. Harry expresses surprise at losing his state-funded security after stepping back from royal duties, especially since his uncle Andrew, who faced serious allegations, retained his security. He criticizes the Sandringham Summit, calling it a fix by royal household officials he nicknames the Bee, the Wasp, and the Fly, who he says used Machiavellian tactics to consolidate power. Harry recounts a tense meeting with Charles and William after Prince Philip's funeral in April 2021. Charles pleaded, "Please, boys, "Don't make my final years a misery." Harry describes William as his dear brother and arch-nemesis, and notes his brother's noticeable baldness and fading resemblance to their mother. During a walk, William questioned why Harry hadn't raised his concerns within the institution sooner, and suggested he take his complaints about the Megxit agreement to the Queen.
First Brexit, now Megxit. Sources say the Queen has called on aides to urgently define the new roles of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in the space of days, not weeks.
Although William later told Harry he loved him and wanted him to be happy, Harry admits he didn't believe his brother's words. Harry and Meghan tell-all interview. The revelations surrounding Prince Harry have continued to captivate the world, especially since his decision to step back from royal duties in 2020. The events that unfolded afterward have only added to the intrigue. Although Prince Harry and his wife, the Duchess of Sussex, have distanced themselves from their official roles, they have certainly not stepped away from the spotlight. Following the release of his book, a revealing interview provided even more insights into the royal family dynamics. What did Prince Harry reveal in the interview that he had not already said in his book? What was the royal family's reaction to this? You're at the edge of your seat, and it's about to get even better. During the interview, Prince Harry discussed a particularly contentious meeting with his brother, Prince William, in 2021. Reflecting on the encounter, Harry described his brother's familiar scowl, which he had always noticed in their interactions, and mentioned the noticeable changes in William's appearance, including his advancing baldness and the fading resemblance to their mother. Harry clarified that his observations were not meant to be hurtful, but rather to provide a fuller picture of their relationship and the circumstances they faced growing up. He emphasized that the tension between them had been building for years, long before his wife entered the picture, countering the narrative that she was responsible for their strained relationship. The world had watched Harry and William grow up, often perceiving them as inseparable. However, as Harry's book reveals, their lives diverged significantly after the death of their mother.
Quite a severe head injury, but she was very much still alive on the back seat. And those people that caused the accident.
Even when they attended the same school, the bond between them was not as close as it seemed. William had once asked Harry to pretend they didn't know each other while at school, a request that deeply hurt Harry at the time. Despite the similar traumatic experience of losing their mother, the two brothers coped with it in very different ways. Prince William had attempted to discuss their mother with Harry on several occasions, but Harry, as a child, struggled to engage in those conversations. It wasn't that Harry didn't want to talk about it, he simply didn't know how. He never considered that discussing it might have been therapeutic. Recalling the tragic night of August 31st, 1997, when their mother, Princess Diana, passed away,
the princess, who spent her life in the relentless glare of the public eye, died in a speeding car in Paris, apparently trying to evade pursuing photographers.
Harry was only 12 years old and was on vacation in Scotland with William and their father. That morning, Prince Charles woke Harry with the devastating news of the car crash in Paris that claimed Diana's life. Despite the gravity of the situation, Harry did not cry. He was in shock, unable to fully comprehend the reality of what had happened. Prince Harry recalled in the interview that the then Prince Charles delivered the tragic news. He didn't offer a hug, as displaying emotions wasn't his strong suit. Instead, he simply placed his hand on Harry's knee and assured him that everything would be okay, even though nothing was okay for a long time. Harry's memories of the days that followed are fragmented, but one moment stands out, greeting mourners outside Kensington Palace the day before Princess Diana's funeral. Reflecting on this, he describes the scene as bizarre. He and his brother, Prince William, were seen smiling, a reaction that filled Harry with guilt. He felt conflicted as the mourners showed more emotion than he and his brother did, possibly even more than they felt at the time. The tears of the mourners left their hands wet, a detail that puzzled Harry. He recalls the strange experience of accepting flowers from the grieving crowd and then placing them with the other tributes, feeling like a middleman for their grief. The funeral itself, held on a cool September morning, was witnessed by an estimated 2.5 billion people around the world. One of the most memorable images from that day was of Harry and William walking behind their mother's casket as it made its way to Westminster Abbey. Harry's recollection of that walk is marked by the overwhelming silence, broken only by the sound of horse hooves on the road, the creaking of bridles, the wheels of the gun carriage, and the occasional crunch of gravel underfoot. After the service, Princess Diana's body was taken to Althorpe, the Spencer family's ancestral estate, for burial. It was only when his mother's coffin was lowered into the ground that Harry cried for the first time since her death. During his teenage years, Harry did not cry, as he struggled to accept that she was truly gone. A part of him believed that Diana would never have left them like this, and another part of him wondered if it was all part of a larger plan. For years after Princess Diana's death, Prince Harry clung to the belief that his mother might have decided to disappear for a time and would eventually return. This hope persisted well into his adulthood, with Harry often waking up and wondering if that day might be the one when she would reappear. This belief was so strong that, at the age of 20, Harry requested to see the police report detailing the crash that killed Diana, her boyfriend Dodi Al-Fayed, and their driver Henry Paul, while being pursued by paparazzi in a Paris tunnel. Both Harry and his brother, Prince William, had directly asked their father not to marry Camilla, fearing that it would cause more harm than good. They saw how happy their father was with Camilla, and believed that should have been enough without the need for marriage. Despite their reservations, they wanted their father to be happy. However, Harry revealed that Camilla had launched a campaign in the British press to pave the way for her marriage to Prince Charles. He even expressed a hope that Camilla might be less dangerous if she were happy. The danger, according to Harry, stemmed from Camilla's need to rehabilitate her image.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
And the connections she was forging within the British press. This need to secure her position within the royal hierarchy and as queen consort led to the exploitation of others, including Harry and William, for better tabloid coverage. Harry writes that he felt sacrificed on Camilla's personal public relations altar, used by both her and, at times, his father, to gain favorable headlines. When Harry introduced Meghan Markle to his family in 2016, his father initially took a liking to her, but William was skeptical, dismissing Meghan as an American actress. Other members of the royal family were also uneasy from the beginning, even before they had a chance to know her. The British press seized upon this unease, amplifying it into a frenzy. The mistrust, as Harry revealed, was rooted in stereotypes, Meghan being American, an actress, divorced, and biracial with a black mother. These elements became a target for the British media, fueling a narrative that would profoundly affect Harry, Meghan, and their relationship with the royal family. Within the royal family, the same stereotypes that fueled mistrust in the media also affected their perceptions. Prince Harry's family regularly read the tabloids, often laid out during breakfast when everyone gathered together. Whether or not they openly acknowledged believing the stories, the constant exposure left an imprint in their minds. The idea that Harry had changed after meeting Meghan Markle led to speculation within the family and the media. Some believed that Meghan had somehow manipulated him. However, Harry embraced the change, recognizing it as a positive transformation. Rather than engaging in his past behaviors of getting drunk, frequenting clubs, and taking drugs, he had found the love of his life and was ready to start a family. When their relationship became public, Harry took a bold step by issuing a statement condemning the tabloid coverage of Meghan, particularly calling out the racial undertones in the commentary. This action angered his father and brother William, who felt that Harry's statement made them look bad. They believed that they were not given the same opportunity or ability to defend their own partners in a similar manner. However, at the end of the interview, Prince Harry ended by saying that their family would be fairly functional without a third party, which is the British press.
As the King and Queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey on the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the King, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
In one moment that took the nation by surprise, Queen Camilla found herself at the center of an unexpected scene that no one could have predicted. Everyone knows the Queen Consort's journey into the royal house.
Once known as the other woman, Camilla is now the Queen. Kind of. The new king's darling wife has become the Queen Consort.
Has not been without its challenges, but even with public scrutiny, the recent loss of her beloved dog, her husband's ill health, and her heart condition, she has consistently maintained a graceful and composed presence in public. Well, that was all until recently, during a live TV broadcast, when her calm demeanor suddenly gave way to an emotional outburst that left the royal watchers wondering what could have triggered such a surprising reaction from her. You're about to find out, so stay with us. Queen Camilla's recent outburst on live TV. In recent months, the British royal family has been rocked by a series of crises, from King Charles battling a severe form of cancer that has left him too weak to fulfill his royal duties.
King Charles III shares a new update on his health amid his cancer diagnosis.
To the ongoing feud between the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex. But somehow, Queen Camilla has managed to give the public more things to talk about with her recent emotional breakdown on her recently released documentary, Behind Closed Doors. The documentary, which focused on domestic abuse, a cause Queen Camilla has long championed, took an unexpected turn when the heartbreaking story of Joanna Simpson was shared. If you are easily deeply moved by tragedies, this is your cue to brace yourself as you're about to hear one of the most gut-wrenching accounts in the history of domestic maltreatment. During the documentary, Diana Parks courageously recounted the story of her daughter, Joanna Simpson, whose life was stolen in a violent, unimaginable way. According to Diana, Joanna was everything a mother could wish for: beautiful, loving, and full of life. A devoted mother to 2 young children, Joanna was adored by everyone who knew her, but behind her vibrant smile, she was living in constant fear, trapped in a relationship that grew darker by the day. Joanna had married Robert Brown, and at first it seemed like a fairy tale. But as time passed, the relationship turned toxic. Robert became controlling, isolating her from friends and family, until Joanna found herself alone, desperate to escape the hold he had on her life. But no matter how hard she tried to fight back, the walls kept closing in. After years of enduring constant infidelity accusations and violent threats from her estranged husband, Joanna knew she had to leave. So in January 2007, she sought legal advice on how to break free from him. But even that didn't help the situation, because later the next month, after moving to Hong Kong, Joanna received a scary call from Robert, who told her how he fantasized about killing her and their children with an axe, and then committing suicide by crashing a plane. Diana recalled the terror in her daughter's voice when she reported the threat. Sadly, typical of abusers, the threat didn't stop there because days later, upon Joanna's return to the house, Robert threatened her again, but this time with a knife to her chest. This renewed Joanna's resolve to escape the grip of a marriage that had become a nightmare. She was hopeful that the law would finally protect her, that she could breathe freely once more. Diana described how overjoyed she was when Joanna shared the news of a legal precedent that might limit Robert's financial claims in their divorce. The excitement was palpable. Eventually, the divorce proceedings were finalized, and for the first time in years, Joanna was genuinely happy. Sadly, this joy was short-lived, and the future that Joanna had so eagerly hoped for was tragically stolen before she could experience it. On the day of her death, Joanna was alone at home, waiting for Robert to return their children after a week-long visit. In Diana's words, normally, Joanna would never have been alone during such exchanges, considering how violent he can be. But for some reason that day, she was. After the children entered the house, an argument began. At first, it seemed like the usual exchanges they used to have while still married, but in the blink of an eye, it escalated into something horrifying. It was in that heated exchange that Robert, in a move that seemed premeditated and well-calculated, pulled a claw hammer from nowhere and struck Joanna 14 times in the presence of their youngest child. After confirming her dead, he callously placed her lifeless body in the trunk of his car, went inside the house to remove the CCTV unit, and told the children to get into the car. From there, he drove them to his pregnant girlfriend's house, then turned off his mobile phone and finally disposed of Joanna's body in a remote area of Windsor Great Park, where he had already prepared a shallow grave. As Diana recounted her daughter's brutal and heartbreaking final moments, Queen Camilla sat in stunned silence. At first, she tried to hold herself together and could even be seen struggling really hard to stifle the sobs that were building within her by taking deep breaths. But when the full weight of Joanna's story finally hit, she could no longer hold back. That was when broke down in tears. Away from the cameras and the headlines, the Queen has long been an advocate for domestic maltreatment victims, and her dedication has manifested in many forms, especially through her support of the independence campaign called BRIC, by BRIC Initiative. Just a month before the documentary's release, she had made a generous private donation of £300,000 to the BRIC by BRIC Initiative. The heartbreaking reality is that oftentimes, many victims remain in abusive situations because they have no safe place to go. It is this realization that inspired Dame Joanna Lumley, CEO of the Independent Foundation, to launch the Brick by Brick initiative with the goal of creating safe havens for women, children, and even pets fleeing the horrors of abusive homes, a space where healing can take its full course and where they can be given a new chance at life. For Joanna Lumley, this was simply an opportunity to raise funds for the helpless.
She's backing a bill that would completely ban British hunters from bringing endangered and vulnerable animal trophies back into the country. Ahead of a vote in Parliament next month, I asked her whether she thinks the campaign will be successful.
Little did she know, however, that she had just presented a powerful platform because soon after its launch, survivors began stepping forward to share their truths. Among them was Esther, who was held hostage by her abuser for an entire week; Emma Armstrong, whose partner threatened her with revenge by sharing explicit images; and even BBC star Victoria Derbyshire, who revealed the heartbreaking story of how her father's abuse shattered her mother's life and how she became a victim of maltreatment. But that's not all. Earlier this year, as part of her efforts to witness the unfiltered impact of domestic maltreatment, Queen Camilla visited a refuge service in Lambeth, where she met and listened to survivors recount their harrowing experiences. This visit built on her earlier work as the patron of Safe Lives, a UK charity dedicated to ending domestic abuse. Moreover, in Manchester, the Queen helped launch an exhibition titled I Am, Portraits of Survivors of Domestic Abuse, which showcased photographs of individuals who have endured and overcome abuse. Even during the COVID-19 lockdown, when cases of domestic maltreatment had reached a dangerous high, Queen Camilla personally sent out messages of support to victims just to remind them that they're not alone, definitely not forgotten, and that help was on the way. For the Queen, this is not just a movement, but a lifelong commitment. But here's the catch. If we focus solely on Queen Camilla's advocacy against domestic maltreatment, we risk missing the bigger picture, which is her commitment to gender equality. Queen Camilla's advocacy for gender equality. For starters, it is quite impressive to see a member of the royal household at the forefront of a topic that was termed a taboo years ago. While her work in combating abuse is undeniably important, it's part of a broader mission to challenge the systemic inequalities that women face every day. For the Queen, tackling domestic maltreatment is inseparable from the fight for women's rights and opportunities. At a recent event at Buckingham Palace, Queen Camilla delivered a heartfelt speech about the urgent issue of maltreatment against women.
25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
The gathering, attended by 300 guests, included notable figures such as Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, Home Secretary Suella Braverman, and former Spice Girl Melanie Brown. The occasion was part of the United Nations 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Maltreatment, an initiative aimed at raising awareness and inspiring action to end maltreatment against women and girls. In her speech, Queen Camilla described maltreatment against women as a global pandemic and highlighted shocking statistics to show the scale of the problem. She revealed during the 16 days of activism that yearly, more than 2,000 women worldwide lose their lives to maltreatment from a partner or family member, with over 3,000 women raped during the same time in England and Wales alone. These figures, she said, show how urgent it is for everyone to come together to fight this crisis. The meeting took an emotional twist when the Queen Consort also shared powerful stories from women who had survived domestic abuse, emphasizing the importance of listening to their experiences. She told the story of one woman who had escaped an abusive relationship and is now helping others overcome similar challenges. This, Queen Camilla said, is a powerful reminder of how survivors can inspire change and create hope for the future. Toward the end of her speech, Queen Camilla paid tribute to women who have lost their lives to maltreatment. She urged the audience to remember their names and stories, reminding everyone that behind every statistic is a real person whose life was tragically cut short. Her speech was a passionate call for action, a tribute to victims, and a powerful reminder of the need to end maltreatment against women once and for all. Queen Camilla's partnership with the Changemakers. Queen Camilla is deeply committed to raising awareness about domestic maltreatment and its significant impact on young people. To support this cause, she has teamed up with a group called the Changemakers, backed by the charity Safe Lives. The Changemakers, a group of young women aged 15 to 21, are working to help their peers recognize toxic relationships, understand the signs of abuse, and know how to seek help. The reason for focusing on this age group is simple. Young victims are often more comfortable opening up to someone their age rather than to an adult. In her ongoing efforts to support this important cause, Queen Camilla recently hosted members of the Changemakers at the Music Hall of Buckingham Palace. During the meeting, which was captured in an unreleased clip, the Queen expressed her strong commitment to advocating for change. She shared how her granddaughters, who are around the same age as the Changemakers, had suggested the idea of pop-up shops in schools. These informal spaces would allow students to discuss sensitive topics like abuse in a relaxed, judgment-free environment. This approach resonated with not just the Queen, but all the Changemakers who were present. The conversation didn't end there. The Changemakers also shared their recent visit to Parliament, where they met with Education Secretary Gillian Keegan to push for changes to the national curriculum. One of the Changemakers, Maya, explained that part of their mission is to help young people feel less isolated and more empowered. She said that taking their campaign to Parliament was a crucial step in raising awareness and making sure the voices of young people are heard. Ellen Miller, the chief executive of Safe Lives, who was also present at the meeting, highlighted the findings from their research, which showed that young people are often let down by the systems meant to support them. She pointed out that children and young people want more from their relationships and sex education classes, but too often they are overlooked by professionals and misunderstood by the adults around them. Miller emphasized that domestic abuse services rarely reflect the needs of young people, leaving them without the support they desperately need. Together, Queen Camilla and the Changemakers are championing a movement that will empower the next generation to live free from abuse, and we can't wait to see how it all unfolds. What are your thoughts on Queen Camilla's approach to tackling this issue? In London, Diana took an advanced cooking course and worked various low-paying jobs. She was a dance instructor for youth until a skiing accident caused her to miss 3 months of work. Then, she worked as a playgroup preschool assistant, did cleaning for her sister Sarah, and acted as a hostess at parties. She also babysat for the Robertsons, an American family in London, and worked as a nursery teacher's assistant at the Young England School in Pimlico. In July 1979, her mother bought her a flat at Coleherne Court as an 18th birthday present. She lived there with 3 flatmates until February 25, 1981. It's amazing how she got involved with Prince Charles after such an eventful life. Royal marriage, sons' births, and lingering controversies. Diana and Prince Charles met in 1977 in unusual circumstances.
The love story between Prince Charles and Lady Diana is particularly steeped in royal history, around which many rumors have surfaced up to this day.
As Charles was dating her sister Sarah, none of them could have imagined their future together. Charles thought she was jolly, and after his relationship with Sarah ended in 1978, they stayed friends. Diana attended Charles's 30th birthday party in Buckingham Palace in November 1978, and in January 1979, she met Charles again at a weekend shooting party at Sandringham as a guest of Queen Elizabeth II. Later in the summer of 1980, Diana and Prince Charles met again at a house party hosted by her friend Philip de Pass in New Grove. After observing her shy nature and wise way of speaking, Charles considered her a potential girlfriend, despite their 13-year age gap. While sitting on a bale of hay at a post-polo barbecue, Diana sympathized with Charles over the loss of his great-uncle, Lord Mountbatten. Her comforting words struck a nerve, and he decided to pursue a relationship with her.
It's always easy to be smart in hindsight, but when you look at this couple's soap opera of body language throughout their marriage and before their marriage.
Did her words make him fall in love? Don't miss the next scene where things get even more interesting. After this, Prince was keen to spend more time with Diana, and he invited her to Balmoral to join him and a group of friends there for a summer holiday. This delighted Diana in no small measure, as she was beginning to adore Charles. After meeting about 13 times, Prince Charles proposed to Diana. He was said to be largely influenced by his father, Prince Philip, who TD Bim in a memo to stop playing the field and get married. His father had said, "You either marry this girl or let her go." Being confused as ever, he took this to mean that his father wanted her to marry Diana, and he proposed to her on February 3, 1981, after a few months of dating at Windsor Castle. Diana was so surprised that she first thought it a joke, but it was real. Prince Charles was damn serious. The formal engagement press call was on February 24, 1981, when after Beijing asked by reporters if they are in love, Diana had replied with certainty while Charles had said, "Whatever in love means." In March 1981, Charles flew to Australia and New Zealand for 5 weeks, leaving his newly betrothed behind. She's spotted crying at Heathrow Airport upon his departure, not because she is sad, but because before he left, he had taken a phone call with Camilla Parker Bowles, his ex. Notwithstanding all these, they got married on July 39, 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral, with 2,650 guests, and a television audience of around 750 million people watching. Charles was wary of going through with the marriage, but he didn't want to let the royal family down. It would look as though Prince Charles was more eager to find a qualified bride than to actually find a love match. Although he was struck by some of her qualities, it wasn't necessarily love, considering that he was still very much in sync with his ex-girlfriend Camilla, a major problem that would later cause much problems in the marriage. Some believe that Prince Charles married Diana because he needed someone who would fit into the royals' family requirement of a prince, and also to produce his own heirs to the royal throne. Princess Diana's problems began right on her wedding day, because the royal family is a subject of intense media attention. It comes with the status, and anyone who is getting into the royal family must be ready to face the odds. Media attention had always been on Prince Charles ever since he started dating. Every of his love interests have been a subject of scrutiny by the press on whether or not they were fit for the royal throne. Diana was not an exception, when on their wedding day, she broke tradition by omitting the word obey from her vows, and it generated a lot of attention and criticism from the media all at once, launching her first hand into one of the many trials of the royal family. After the couple's fairy tale wedding, Diana felt overwhelmed by her royal duties and the intense media coverage of nearly every aspect of her life. The many duties and the lack of affection from the prince meant that they spent little time together, and the princess was not having it easy. Due to this, in January 1982, 12 weeks into her pregnancy with William, Diana deliberately threw herself down the stairs at the Sandringham House royal residence in Norfolk because she had eating disorder, bulimia, and was feeling so despondent and inadequate in her marriage to Charles. But the baby was unharmed. There was a ray of hope after the birth of their first son, William, on June 21, 1982, at St. Mary's Hospital in London, and Prince Charles, having attended the broth, described the experience as astonishing. The birth of their first son deepened the relationship between Diana and the prince a little. Diana experienced postpartum depression after her pregnancy with William, and found the intense media attention surrounding her pregnancy difficult to bear. In 1983, when William was just 9 months old, Diana couldn't bear to leave him behind for a 6-week tour of Australia and New Zealand. She broke royal tradition by taking him along, sparking a mixed reaction from the press, from harsh criticism to applause from parts of the public. Then, on September 15, 1984, Princess Diana gave birth to Prince Harry, with Charles by her side. Interestingly, 6 weeks before Harry's birth, Charles had thought Diana was expecting a girl. When Harry, a boy, arrived instead, Diana kept it a surprise from Charles, perhaps enjoying the closeness it brought them. But Charles's disappointment over Harry's gender and his hair color strained their marriage further. Diana felt resentful, beginning a journey of secrecy and revenge. This bitterness lingered, and years later Prince William began leaking royal secrets, drawing widespread media attention. It begs the question, why did Charles break the royal rule of secrecy, and why did both sons turn away from their father? Stay tuned, the most exciting part is just around the corner. Prince William's unveiled King Charles's secrets. In the recent royal biography Endgame, written by the royal analyst Omid Scobie, secrets and explosive claims revealed in the book about King Charles, marriage to Diana, and even under his rule were attributed to have been leaked by Prince William's. Interestingly, some claim that it is due to his overambition to become king one day that he broke the sacred code of the royal family, keeping the mouth sealed and keeping secrets. The secrets released by him corroborated the many suspicions of there being a foul play surrounding the death of Princess Diana, while also adding fresh perspectives to the long-forgotten life of Princess Diana. The news was that he leaked private information about both Harry, his brother, and King Charles. Princess Diana's death had been subject to one conspiracy theory or the other, and the most apparent one was that the driver was intoxicated. But more than this, the princess's suspicion of the royal family always plotting against her during her lifetime did not help matters. During her frustrating times with the prince, she believed at some point that Charles wanted her out of the way in order to marry his true love, Camilla. So, many implied that her death might not be a natural accident after all. One major open secret of Prince Charles was his affair with Camilla Parker Bowlers, both before and after the marriage with Princess Diana. On finding out, Camilla was a bone in Camilla's throat, coupled with the loneliness, extreme media attention, and the mental health issues that Diana faced after the marriage. On the Monday before her wedding, she had discovered a beautiful bracelet her future husband intended to give to Camilla. Diana considered calling off the wedding after discovering the bracelet, which confirmed her worst suspicions about Charles's relationship with Camilla. But after lunch with her older sisters, she was persuaded otherwise, telling her that it was too late to chicken out. Tremendously unhappy in their marriage by 1986, both Charles and Diana had extramarital affairs. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Charles maintained constant communication with Camilla, who was also unhappily married to a promiscuous husband. Their affair reignited despite her troubled marriage, a fact Prince Charles admitted to his biographer Jonathan Dimbleby in 1994.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage.
The villain Prince Harry is referring to is Camilla, King Charles's wife and now Queen Consort.
Meanwhile, rumors swirled that Diana had an affair with Army Captain James Hewitt, possibly in response to her own marital unhappiness. Between 1987 and 1992, their troubled marriage garnered intense media scrutiny. Diana's absence from Charles's family summer trip in 1987 sparked headlines about a royal rift. Public appearances often revealed their distant and unhappy demeanor, further fueling speculation about their relationship. The media closely followed their every move, analyzing their interactions and adding to the public's fascination with their marital struggles. In 1988, Georgina Howell reported that Diana was adored by everyone in the world, except her husband. The following year, in 1989, Princess Diana confronted Camilla Parker about her affairs with Prince Charles, which Camilla did not deny. This confrontation highlighted the strained dynamics within their marriage. Moving forward to May 1992, The publication of Diana, her true story, caused an international scandal. Biographer Andrew Morton detailed Prince Charles's mistreatment of Diana, including her struggles with self-harm, bulimia, and suicidal thoughts. Later that year, in November 1992, the Prince and Princess of Wales embarked on a disastrous official trip to South Korea. Their visible misery during the trip earned them the nickname the Glums in the media, signaling an apparent end to any semblance of cordiality between them. This turbulent period further intensified the media attention and speculation surrounding their troubled marriage. Separation, divorce, and Princess Diana's tragic death. All hell was let loose when the Prime Minister John Major announced in the House of Commons that Prince Charles and Princess Diana were amicably separating with no plans to divorce, and the decision on December 9, 1992. They both agreed to continue to participate fully in the upbringing of their children, he reads from a statement prepared by Buckingham Palace. In 1994, June 29th, Prince Charles attended an ill-advised tell-all interview which made Princess Diana and the royal family furious. Consequent to this, Princess Diana also sat down for the Panorama interview with Martin Bashir.
Did your relationship with James Hewitt go beyond a close friendship?
Yes, it did. Yes.
Were you unfaithful?
Yes, I adored him. Yes, I was in love with him.
Where she spoke of her deep sadness in the marriage, and how it had always been the three of them in the marriage, firing shots at Prince Charles and Camilla. In 1995, during the subsistence of the separation, Diana entered into a relationship with Hasnat Khan, a British Pakistani. The relationship was kept secret, but became public on November 3, 1996, after it was reported in the media. Diana tried to deflect and say they were not dating, which annoyed Hasnat, but they got past it, with Diana even visiting Hasnat's family. However, their indecision and lack of agreement on marriage led to their breakup in 1997. During this relationship, the marriage between Charles and Diana and its many controversies were laid to rest when Queen Elizabeth II wrote to Diana, requesting an early divorce for the country's sake. On June 15, 1996, the divorce between the Prince and Princess of Wales was granted. On August 28, 1996, the decree absolute arrived, and the couple was no longer married. That day, while getting ready for an engagement at the English National Ballet, Princess Diana's brother-in-law, Sir Robert Fellows, reportedly wished her good luck, stating that the divorce was an end to a wonderful story, to which she replied that it was the beginning of a new chapter. Diana received a significant financial settlement, but was stripped of her royal status. After the divorce, the cold relationship between the couple thawed, and Prince Charles even dropped by for Diana's 35th birthday. Whatever the Wales's post-divorce relationship could have been was shattered on August 31, 1997, when Princess Diana was killed in a Paris car crash. Surprisingly, it was Prince Charles and Diana's sisters who rushed to bring her home, and she was given a royal funeral. At her funeral, Prince Charles angered royal watchers by wearing a navy suit instead of mourning black. The children were left motherless and had to grieve their mother in front of the world. Prince Philip urged them to take part in their mother's funeral procession and guided them through it all. Both Prince William and Prince Harry later turned against their father in solidarity with their deceased mother. Although there is no love lost between the siblings, especially after Harry's marriage to Meghan and his disrespect to the royal family, they had one thing in common.
On September 7, 1997, William and Harry, then ages 15 and 12, followed a route that began at Kensington Palace to Westminster Abbey.
They probably resented King Charles for the life led with their mother. Despite Princess Diana's tumultuous life, she left a legacy behind. She stood up for herself when she took a big step forward and got treatment for her bulimia, which had tormented her for many years. She also calmly confronted Camilla about her relationship with her husband, as at then. She was also able to attend to her own interest, despite her royal and marital troubles, as she embraced her role as the people's princess. She spent time reconnecting with people, listening to their stories, and helping her connect more with the world around her. The community service trait demonstrated by her in her early life is also evident. because she took up the advocacy for HIV/AIDS patients, removing the stigma surrounding them by shaking hands and even hugging a patient, thereby sending a powerful message as regards who the disease was viewed. The royal family continues to live with hideous secrets, and their exposure has led to one controversy or the other over the years. Prince William continues to shed light on the secrets that shaped his mother's life, and the royal family breaking the implied oath of secrecy in the royal family. What do you think of Prince William's action and his mother's life? Drop your thoughts in the comments section.